Mike, before we get to the rookies reporting today, Kyle Pitts will not start on the PUP list, the PUP list.
Good to hear.
As he announced this on Instagram. So, according to the rules, the Falcons had the option to place their starting tight end on the active list or the PUP list at the start of camp. Guys, if he was on the PUP list, that allows him to – obviously, he wasn't going to play, but if he's on the active list, allowing him to participate in team activities but not allowing him to practice while he was going to be on the PUP list. He says he's not going to be on the list. So, Mike, my concerns, your concerns, we said this. If camp started and Kyle Pitts was not available –
that'd be a major red flag.
Yeah.
And he's going to be good to go. Because remember, guys, it was late. The funny thing is, most people, when you go back, people thought it happened like in October. But because Mariota just couldn't seem to connect with Pitts, the Rams game comes to mind where there's a number of plays where look, there was a lot. Hell, you do the entire show on moments where Mariota missed wide open receivers. But Pitts, unfortunately, that's like I don't think people are. If you're calling Pitts a bust, the guy was a Pro Bowler in his first season. He got injured in his second season. 1,000 yards. I know it's been diminished because of 17 weeks, but the guys, you saw the talent. The delivery system, as we like to say, just wasn't steady. Matt got him, and even Matt didn't get him the ball enough, if we're honest. And some of that was because Calvin really wasn't on the field. Yep. Now they were double teaming him, which people don't seem to remember. So Pitts, I think, is going to be fine, but that would have been a major issue, and we would have been, oops, if he wasn't out there come next week.
If he was on the PUP list, they could have taken him off at any point, but it's a good sign that he's going to be healthy enough to start. Now, Chris, real quick, while we're talking about this Insta post for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, it was tight.
It's Dukes and Bell at Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. What kind of car was he flossing in?
Well, it was like a Buccaneers creamsicle colored Mercedes-Benz, and he decided to flex by posting on his story, showing off the wheel from the inside, the big silver Mercedes-Benz logo right in the middle, and he was bossing.
Well, listen, Kyle can do that. Do we need more production, as Mike's point is? Yeah, we do. Absolutely. This has got to be another 1,000-yard and more touchdowns, by the way. All right? We say that. We can't take that for granted. More touchdowns. But I'm happy that he's going to be able to start camp on time. Let's talk about these rookies, Mike, because I want to know if you think this rookie class is going to be a one that sets us apart. Listen, Bijan's a starter, okay? Matthew Bergeron, I believe, is a starter. He hadn't been named that.
Right. Now, everyone's playing the respect game. You're not going to just be simply handed the job as a third-round pick. But a lot of people look at this guy and say, and we've heard, it was kind of when we were up there at Falcons and we talked to Chris Lindstrom at minicamp, he kind of hinted that this guy's the real deal, didn't he?
Yes.
You kind of got the same. No, that was at Mercedes-Benz. Up at camp, we got it from Jake Matthews. Jake kind of hinted that Bergeron looks like the dude who'll be sitting next to him at left guard.
So that's two. Is Zach Harrison going to come in here off the edge and play more than we expect?
See, he's a project. Everybody seems to think he's a project. Size, reach. People are sold and enamored with the athleticism and the amazing reach. And, he looks like a dude he looks like Groot from Guardians of, I am Groot in Guardians of the Galaxy. But unfortunately, he just never matched the expectations because Chase Young went before him, right? And then went to Washington. But I of all the guys, I wouldn't say him necessarily off the top of my head.
All right. The other guy I think that's going to start, and he's going to start in the slot, but we will see, is Clark Phillips out of Utah.
He looks like a stud.
Player. Okay? I know you didn't watch a lot of Utah games. Player. He played corner. He's a guy that I think can garner a lot of significant time. Then you got DeMarco Hellams, Mike, out of Alabama, the safety we drafted. And then, of course, you're talking about...
And he'll play special teams.
He will. Javon Gwynn is the offensive lineman from South Carolina. And this offensive line, by the way, I mean, I want to say this before we get into camp next week. You guys realize, according to most people that cover the game, we got the 7th best offensive line in the NFL. I don't know if you believe that. But again, it goes back to the run game last year when we were 3rd in the league in rushing. And now you're adding Bijan Robinson to that. And if the offensive line is that, maybe it's top 5. I don't know. But even if it's top 7, that means we're top 10. The line is going to play a crucial role in the protection of Desmond Ridder, but more importantly, the run game and whatever that's going to look like.
Because Dahlman grades out a lot higher than I think people realize. And I think the only times that, if you thought Dahlman screwed up, it's because probably the guy to his left was a turnstile.
Yep.
Because we played 5 different guys at left guard last year. And now a guy, let's be honest, guys that were forced into service might not make the team this year. Think about that. That's how lean things were because of the cap. Other issues, Carl. We had to throw in guys that really weren't ready for the moment. And this year, that's not the case. Now you got depth. You got depth in the trenches. If Bergeron steps up, you got other veterans that are ready to go. It's a good place. But again, this was why when we say, wow, guys don't give a crap that our coach went 7-10 the last 2 years, you're lucky we went 7-10. And I know it doesn't translate to some of our audience, but when you think about just how beat up we were and just not having the depth that we got now.
this rookie class is going to be counted on. Now, are they difference makers? I don't know. We're going to see.
Well, the two, Bijan Robinson and Bergeron will be those guys are going to start. The other guys, I can't necessarily say with the degree of certainty those other guys can contribute.
Listen, the year we go to Super Bowl, forever ago, we had multiple rookies contribute. 3 of those guys nobody thought would be playing. 3 of them. Okay? Austin Hooper was one of them. You were like, we're drafting this tight end. Okay, yeah, we'll see how good he is. There are always guys who play above what you think they're going to.
Well, Devondre Campbell was probably the big surprise in that one.
Well, he was a 4th or 5th round pick.
4th round pick out of Minnesota. Right, but I'm saying, I think you expect your first rounder to step up and play.
Well, if you get the first round guy wrong, right? That's why I'm kind of leaving Bijan out there. That's a given. We already know he should be special.
But I'll give you Clark Phillips because there was an article in the Falcons website. And they were talking about if Jeff Okudah steps up and Richie Grant gets. See, this is kind of a make or break year for Richie Grant, right?
What is this, year 4?
Yeah, second rounder. He's got to step up here.
Okay.
We've loved the playmaking ability. But to your point, talking about the draft class, maybe Clark Phillips can kind of crack that starting lineup. You got a lot of experience, or at least certainly a lot of guys that were expected to be better because you got 2 first-round picks in your secondary.
Yeah, I think the reason why Phillips is going to be a baller is because we really don't have a slot guy corner. We moved on from that position in the offseason, and then you draft him. And I think, Mike, as much as we play nickel and dime and all that stuff, we talk about it. I think he's going to be on the field a lot more than people expect him to be. The Zach Harrison thing.
Oh, by the way, it's year 3 for Richie Grant.
Okay. I don't know. I got to see him. He's one of these guys I want to see next week and the week after next. I haven't seen Zach Harrison. Yeah, I've seen the footage, and I've had guys at Ohio State tell me, yes, he's got upside like crazy. But, Mike, I don't know if he's going to wow me when we see him enough to say, this guy deserves to be a starter, and he's just beating blocks and throwing guys around. I don't know if he's that guy.
If you saw Zach Harrison's tape after he got drafted, in case you didn't watch Ohio State, he looks, the same thing we say about Lorenzo Carter. He looks like the guy that should be playing that position.
He looks the part.
But he's got to step up. Hey, one last nugget before we break. A lot of guys are confused about how you get in to Falcons camp, which opens next Thursday.
Okay.
I put the link up at Mike Bell ATL. There's a process. It's pretty simple. You just got to go get a ticket. And get all the details through Ticketmaster. You also get the link through the Falcons website, but it's up at Mike Bell ATL, so we can see you out at camp next week.
Yeah, and listen, they're making it easy, but they're also trying to make sure that they don't have too many people. They're doing construction up there. This is part of it.
And a big weight room.
There's stuff going on, and they just want to make sure that they don't say, hey, everybody come, and then everybody's like, I came, and I couldn't park, and I couldn't do this.
Right.
So that's what the ticket thing is, but you're going to be able to go check them out.